We've been conditioned to believe that police are necessary for society. Abolition is us taking ownership of our future outside of a white supremacist capitalist society. My name is Malkia, and I'm an activist curator fellow with Chronicling Resistance. I'm studying abolitionism, past abolition of slavery, more recent history of resistance movements in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and contemporary abolition, and sort of how they connect to each other and the trajectory of those movements to today. My dad's from Kenya, and he immigrated to the United States in the early 1990s, and the same with my mom. My parents were a big influence on my political development. My mom gave me the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was like 13 years old. So even though, I didn't have necessarily an explicit political language or framework I was working with, I would say, especially going into high school, after having read those texts and, I would say I was probably 15 or 16 when the Black Lives Matter movement was really coming together, and I sort of started to connect the dots, and I was like, wait, this isn't okay. I need to think about this more, and I want to be involved in actually changing something. I think abolition in the States is very much connected to this sort of almost worldwide, especially in the global South, move towards challenging colonialism, challenging the state. In Kenya, there's also been a lot of conversation about police brutality and trying to address the, remnants of colonialism that exists in their current state structure. Oppressive institutions have taken a strong hold on not just, our world, but our way of thinking and being, sort of centered on fear, centered on not knowing who your neighbors are and being afraid of them. There is this sort of aspect of abolition that I find really interesting. When I was doing early research into it, thinking about how to engage conversation about it, I remember finding different meditations on abolition and meditations on safety and care and envisioning a different society and stuff like that. And I think that is spiritual, to sort of sit with those questions, because they're huge questions and they challenge our entire existence. In my work, in my research, and my goal for this fellowship is to think about ways of showing, or at least getting people to question that norm, what has been put on us in terms of how we're expected to relate to each other as human beings.